I'm Scott Schaefer Duffy. I'm from the St. Francis and Therese Catholic Worker on Mason Street in Worcester. And my first introduction to climate change was rather surprising. I was part of an international peace delegation that went to Darfur, Sudan, to address the genocide that was taking place there. And we asked many questions about what was causing that conflict. Was it conflict between the Arabs and the others, different ethnic groups? The predominant cause, everyone told us, was increased temperature and reduction in water, and a conflict between farmers and herders that was caused by that. And we were told that if climate change continues, larger and larger swaths of sub-Saharan Africa will become uninhabitable. And people will either kill each other fighting for remaining resources or look to flee to other places. More and more of these people will come to our doorsteps, which we are closing. So this is a very alarming sort of thing. In 2015, Pope Francis issued an encyclical on climate change, referring to a scientific consensus and describing these harms to the poor and environmental harms to creation and to all of us as well. This week, Bishop McManus joined the other bishops of Worcester and the Cardinal in Boston in issuing a statement. And he said, after they described this threat, with this immense threat, we may feel inclined to despair, but we are people of faith. Change is hard and at the outset can seem intimidating. We must each find tangible and substantive action that are within our grasp. Action is needed at all levels of government to encourage the replacement of fossil fuels with renewable resources, while ensuring the most vulnerable members of society are protected from harm during this transition. Some experts say we have as little as 11 years to transition from fossil fuels. The conservative estimates are 25. And after that time, the effects of climate change could be irreversible. So if this is not an emergency, I really don't know what is. And I praise Worcester on some of the things it's done. I coach at South High, and I see the new school go up with the solar panels. I look down at the solar panels at Sullivan. Worcester has done a lot. And let's continue that proud tradition and go forward, declare an emergency, do one more step to move us even farther forward and help combat the indifference and the intransigence and the harm that's coming out of other areas of the government right now. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Reverend Vernon K. Walker, affiliated with the Baraka Church in Dorchester and former resident of this great city, Worcester. And I'm here today, brothers and sisters, to point out that we are living in some troubling times. We are living in some times where people are running around scared about the future of this earth. We are living in times where people are experiencing racism, xenophobia, and other forms of hatred. But essentially, what I see as the defining issue of this moment is climate change. The reason I see that climate change is the defining issue of this time is because if humans do not have an earth to inhabitate, then our other issues may not even matter. But there is an interconnection between these issues. Climate change is not a single special interest issue, but rather a complex crisis affecting public health, foreign policy, jobs and the economy, labor, civil rights, immigration, agriculture, and the food supply, housing, transportation, and the survival of nature in every facet of human life. We are experiencing shifting weather patterns that threaten food production, to rise in sea levels, that increase the risk of flooding. The impacts of climate change are global in scope and unprecedented in scale. The effects are devastating in nature and dangerous in reality. Climate change is the defining issue of our time. And if we don't take drastic actions, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult in the future to address the climate impacts that will come and the extreme weather that will come because of climate change. So we're simply asking that tonight that we declare a climate emergency, because if we don't recognize this troubling issue, and Worcester has done a lot to combat climate change, if we don't declare that this is an emergency, then the greatest existential threat to our human existence may take us sooner than we're expected. Thank you.
Thank you.